That's the only card they've got to play. All right, we're coming up on a break. We will be back on the Real News with Farron and Brian in mere moments. All right, we are back on the Real News with Farron and Brian, and we're going to go ahead and give out the call-in number. If you'd like to call in this hour, the number is 1-866-986-6397. Again, that is 1-866-986-6397. We were talking about Jimmy Carter's comments this past week, and we are going to go ahead and play that for you, and we'll discuss it a little further.
The ability to determine...
One second, please.
Former President Jimmy Carter going on to exploit and divide the American people here in just one moment. We're bringing that up right now, but I mean, this is, again, the classic card that they fought.
The intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man, that he's African American. I live in the South, and I've seen the South come a long way, and I've seen the rest of the country that shared the South's attitude toward minority groups at that time, particularly African Americans. That racism inclination still exists, and I think it's bubbled up to the surface because of a belief among many white people, not just in the South but around the country, that African Americans are not qualified to lead this great country. It's an abominable circumstance and grieves me and concerns me very deeply.
President Carter in Atlanta today, he went on to say that because of President Obama's personal qualities, he will be able to, quote, triumph over the racist attitude that is the basis for the negative environment that we see so vividly demonstrated in public affairs in recent days.
We got it there, Brian. It's not the policies. It's not the fact that he wants to intervene in his lives. It's not the fact that he wants to raise everyone's taxes $1,761 on cap and trade. It's not the fact that he wanted to have hate crimes legislation. It's not the fact that he wants to nationalize the banking institutions. It's not the fact that he wants to allow the Treasury to continue to be looted for the good of the Federal Reserve banking system and the international crime banking syndicate. It's because he's black.
It's not because of the fact that he's reneged on all of his campaign promises. It's not the fact he's expanding the wars, not ending them. I mean, it goes on and on and on, folks. I mean, this is George Bush's third term.
The 2 million people that showed up in Washington last Saturday obviously were card-carrying Ku Klux Klan members. They were only there because we have a black president. How did he get elected in this country if everyone is so racist, Jimmy Carter? I live in the South, and I'll say it again. I despise Barack Obama for his policies. I did George W. Bush also. In fact, I was a registered Republican in the year 2000, I'm ashamed to say, and because I did not want to be associated with anything that had to do with George W. Bush, I changed my party affiliation, and I would not, give me Alan Keyes. Give him a try. He's black. I'd be more than happy to have him as president. It's the policies of Barack Obama and the fact that he is obviously a puppet of the same controllers as George W. Bush was. And the proof is, like you just said, Brian, he absolutely is not fulfilling any of his campaign promises, and he's continuing the complete failed policies of George W. Bush. It's because they sing from the same song book, they read from the same script.
And Jimmy Carter went on to say that a lot of people feel that President Barack Obama is not qualified to be president. Obviously, the man is 100 times smarter than our former president, George W. Bush, who could barely put a few sentences together. Barack Obama is extraordinarily articulate, eloquent speaker, and he's 100 times smarter than George W. Bush. That's not the issue, Mr. Carter.
It's the policy, stupid. Remember, it was the economy, stupid. It's the policy, stupid. It's the fact that we do not want the government intervening in every aspect of our lives. We would like to have a semblance of freedom here in America. You know, we go around saying it. We go around...
And any fool in the entire planet Earth knows the president doesn't come up with all this stuff. It's all his cabinet, administration. He's just a spokesman. I mean, even diehard non-conspiracy theorists would agree with that.
Yes, he reads from the teleprompter. He doesn't write the speeches. He for darn sure doesn't write all these policies. I mean, it's come out the Apollo group, whoever that is, writes these different policies that our Congress doesn't read and then that they pass, but we have to fund and pay for. Washington's broke.
What was it? Abraham Lincoln, he wrote the Gettysburg Address going to the address. I mean, this isn't something that presidents do anymore. They have their speech writers come in, their speech is all there prepared, it's on the teleprompters. They don't write their own stuff anymore.
No, they are a puppet, whether you like it or you don't. Prove me wrong. Again, if you'd like to call in this hour, the phone numbers are 1-866-986-6397. But when their back is against the wall, Brian, when the people are turning out and actually opposing the government, and they are turning their back on the mainstream media and disbelieving their cachet of continual lies, then it's time to pull the race card. And Jimmy Carter is still obviously a pawn of the controllers, and that's why that was his role. He was given that script. Let's play the race card, and maybe that will make people try to scare them or shame them into quit being so outspoken critics of the Barack Obama administration. Really, Barack Obama's done it to himself. I mean, all of the things that he has done in the last 8 months, that's why he's getting this backlash. I would say that if he would have actually lived by his campaign promises, we would not have seen the group in Washington, D.C. last week. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't have seen his approval rating plummet from practically in half. I mean, it was somewhere in the 70s, and now it's, what, like 40?
Rating is as low now as Bush's. It took Bush 8 years. It took him 8 months, and still going. Of course, in Congress's is way below that. Last time I seen Congress, it was below 20%, I believe.
It's, I believe, the lowest in the nation's history, and with good reason.
So with absolutely good reason. So we wanted to go into that a little bit. If you'd like to comment on former President Carter's statement as far as race, if you believe it, agree with it, disagree, whatever, this is a forum for you, the listener. Feel free to call in. The number again is 1-866-986-6397. And top of the hour, we will go to our recorded interview that was done in 1994 with John McCain. But until then, we will continue with the news.
MSNBC trader calls 10th Amendment a bunch of baloney. This was from InfoWars. Let's face it, Obama's propaganda talking heads at MSNBC hate the Constitution and Bill of Rights. David Schuster, in particular, hates the Constitution, as we had heard here last week on MSNBC. He believes the 10th Amendment is baloney, even though he utilizes the first to denounce it. Says Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 of the Constitution permits the government to confiscate the wealth of Americans for the purposes of Social Security, Medicare, and apparently for an oversized military that has initiated 2 invasions and occupations, adventures self-described liberals opposed when Bush was in office in support, now that Obama is warming a seat to the Oval Office.
Well, I agree with that. We can go into that further. That's some excellent information. We're going to go ahead and go to the phones. We have a phone call from Dave. He's joining us from Statesville. How you doing today, sir?
Good, Pat. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. We've got about 3 minutes before we go to break, and of course you can stay with us after the break if you want to. But go ahead. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of this racist card being pulled out of the deck. It's kind of a last-ditch effort to discredit. It's beside the point. Race is not an issue with this, and I think I've got the solution. I think our next president ought to be Bill Cosby. Since the president is just a figurehead and a puppet anyway, we might as well have a Negro that everybody likes and tells jokes. And I think if Bill Cosby won't do it, maybe Eddie Murphy will do it.
What about like Ronald McDonald?
Yeah, that's right.
It'd be very fitting for this country, wouldn't it?
Something that's near and dear to everyone's heart.
And it's a representative of corporate